Good morning. Good to luck, everybody. Welcome back to a new week. We're going to be learning the Nedarim the entire week, and we finish the Nedarim on next week, Sunday. The time for Omer. Pesach Sheni is Friday, and we're starting Nazir on Monday next week, which is very exciting. Today's my mother's yahrzeit, so this year is dedicated to her. Lila Nishmas Liba Sarah Bas Yisrael on 23rd yahrzeit. It's also this year's also Lila Nishmas Aaron Nachman Simcha Cohen, Yoshua Mordechai Shepsel, Bracha Sarah Bashmuel Leib, and Binah Moshe Ben Yosef, may then Hashem also have an aliyah. And Refuah Shlema for Yisrael Ben Rachel Leah, Rachel Bas Pesach Zelda, Rachel Eliana Bas Yal Bracha, Harvin Yitzchak Ben Risha, Chai Bas Bela, Refuah Shlema B'Soch Shar Chol Yisrael. And Sefer Bracha Tzvi Noach Ben Bracha Leah, and Nazir Bekarov, Shmuel David Ben Hind Miriam, and special shout out to our sponsors with Seder Noshim, to the Imperial Advisory Group, specialist in CFO stuff for over 30 years. If you need help with the financials for your company, reach out to them at www.imperialgrp.com. Here we go. Perek Hey in the Nedarim, Mishnah Aleph. So we're continuing with the topic of the previous Perek, where the muder, the one who is forbidden by a neder to benefit from another person, from the madir. So in the times of the Mishnah, going back many years ago, houses did not open into a street like they do now, but into a shared courtyard. We spoke about this in Erevin. Anyone who owned a house in the courtyard was considered a partner in the courtyard itself. Almost like a cul-de-sac type of thing, but not really. The Mishnah talks about but the halacha where two people who own houses in the same courtyard are also to receive benefit from each other. So Hashutfim shenadru hana zemizeh. There's two partners, two meaning two people whose houses open into the same courtyard, made Nedarim, not to have any benefit from each other. Asurin likanis lechatzer. They are both forbidden to enter the courtyard, since each one owns a share of the whole courtyard. When one of them walks in the courtyard, he is using property partly owned by the other, which is usher. Rav ben Yaakov says, they are permitted to walk in the courtyard because this one is entering his own property. This one is entering his own property. According to Rav ben Yaakov, when the homeowner enters the courtyard in which he lives, the part where he walks is viewed as belonging only to him at the time and not to the other homeowner. In our case, therefore, when either person walks in the courtyard, he is not guilty of using the other's property. However, both of them are forbidden to set up a mill or oven in the courtyard or to raise chickens there. Even according to Rav ben Yaakov, each homeowner in the courtyard has the right to stop the other homeowners from doing these things and things to allow others to do them. He is giving him forbidden benefit. If only one of them was ushered by a neder that benefit from the other, he may not enter the courtyard that they own together, since he would be using property partly owned by the madir. Rav Yaakov says, "Yachol hu lomar lo l'soch shali, l'soch shali ani nichnas ve'ani nichnas l'soch shalo." He is permitted to use the courtyard because he can say to the other, "I am entering my property. I am not entering your property." As explained, Rav Yaakov holds that when a homeowner uses the courtyard, he is considered the only owner of the section he occupies at that time. And according to both the first Tana and Elazar and Yaakov, we forced the one who made the neder uh, um, to sell his portion of the courtyard. We're concerned that when the muder sees the mother using the courtyard, the muder might forget his neder and use it as well. To avoid this, we required the muder to sell his share of the courtyard, so he will be prevented from using it. Mishnah Beis. If someone from the street is forbidden by a neder to benefit from one of them, one of the people who do lo yikanes l'chatzer, he may not enter the courtyard since he would thereby receive benefit from the madir. Rav Yaakov says, Yachol hu lomar lo, he may enter the courtyard because he can say to the madir, the self shall chaveirach, 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 the self shall chaveirach, and he nechnas, the any nechnas the self shall shalach. I'm entering only property that belongs to another homeowner, and I am not entering property that belongs to you. That when he walks in the courtyard, the section in which he walks is viewed as being belonging only to the other homeowners and not to the madir. Mishnah Gimel. Hamuder hanami chaveiro. Someone is usher by an edit to benefit from the property of another. Yesh lamercha to beis habad shakrim be'ir. And the madir has a bathhouse or olive press in the town that are rented to someone else. And the law is as follows. If the madir still has a holding in the bathhouse or olive press, he didn't rent out the entire property but kept a part of it for himself. It's usher for the mutter to use them. Since the madir controls part of these places, all of it is considered his property, which was prohibited by the neder. But if the madir does not have a holding in them, rather he rented them out completely, mutter, it is permitted for the mutter to use them because they are not considered the property of the madir. If someone says to another, your house is konam in regard to my entering it, he may mean that he made a neder not to enter the other's house. Or he says, you feel this konam in regard to my buying it. He made a neder not to buy the other's field. Mace, oh shemach, died or sold the house or field to buy it to someone else. Mutter, it is permitted for the mutter to enter the house or to buy the field. Since he specified your house and your field, they are forbidden to him only while they still belong to the madir and not after they were acquired by someone else. However, if he says this house is kon in regard to my entering it, so or this field is kon in regards to my buying it, mace and the owner died or sold it to someone else, it is usher for the mutter to enter the house or to buy the field. Since he said this house or this field, he made them usher no matter who owns them. Mishnah Dal. One person says, I'm hereby sharing to you, a mutter usher. The person to whom the neder was addressed is usher that benefit from the one who made the neder. If he says you are hereby sharing to me, another usher, the one who made the neder, is usher to benefit from the one to whom it was addressed. If he says, I'm hereby sharing to you and you are sharing to me, both of them are usher that benefit from the other. Both of them are permitted to use a facility of those who came up from Bavel, meaning a facility designated for public use by the Jews who returned from Bavel to Eretz Yisrael to build the second Beis Hamikdash. These facilities were given to the entire nation to enjoy and are not owned by any particular person or a group of people. Each mutter is therefore permitted to use them, since by doing so he does not receive benefit from anything owned by the other. But they are forbidden to use a facility of that town, meaning a public facility of the town in which they both live. A town's facility is jointly owned by every resident of the town. Therefore, if one of the mudars were to use it, he would be benefiting from the other person's share, which is usher to do. Mishnah Hey. And what is the facility of those who came up from Bavel? What does that really mean? Could go on Harabayas, for example, the Harabayas, the Temple Mount, Vahazaros, and the courtyards of the Beis Hamikdash, as well as the entire Beis Hamikdash complex. This Mishnah specifies the mountain and the courtyards only because any Jew is permitted to be there as long as he covered. While the inner parts of the Beis Hamikdash were restricted to most Jews. And the well that is in the middle of the road that goes from Babel to Eretz Yisrael, these facilities were set aside to be used by all Jews, and no individual has a private share in them. The muder may therefore use them. What's the facility of that town? For example, the market street, and the public bathhouse, and the shul. Torah, and all the books and all the holy books. Meaning the books that were purchased with public funds to be used for limud Torah of the people from the town. These items are owned by all the residents of the town. Therefore, if a resident of a town prohibits another person to benefit from him, the muder is forbidden to use them, since he thereby benefits from the madir's property. And if the madir gives his share away to remove the problem, he gives it to the nasi, to the leader of the town, like the mayor or the ruler or whoever it is, the person who's responsible for governing the town. Rabbi Yehuda says, Echa kosiv the nasi, Echa kosiv the hedjot, whether the madir gives his share to the ruler or whether he gives it to an ordinary person, the town's facility becomes permitted to the mudar. Ma ben kosiv the nasi, kosiv the hedjot. What then is the difference between one who gives it to the ruler and the one who gives it to an ordinary person? Kosiv the nasi, and the difference is that one who gives his share to the ruler does not need to have someone acquire it on the ruler's behalf. There is no need for anyone to perform an act of acquisition with the property in order to require it for the ruler. Rather, as soon as the madir records the transaction and a document and signs it, the ruler acquires his share. However, if the madir gives his share to an ordinary person, a document does not suffice. The recipient must perform an act of acquisition. The Chachamim say, both this one who gives his share to the ruler and that one who gives it to an ordinary person must have someone acquire it to perform an act of acquisition with the property. There's no practical difference between the ruler with an ordinary person. The ruler was mentioned only because it was common practice to use the ruler for this purpose. Rabbi Yehuda says, the people of the Galil do not need to give away their shares in the town's facilities. Fathers already gave their shares away for them, quarrelsome and frequently made Nedarim against one another. Realizing this, the Galileans of early generations gave all their shares into the town facilities to the ruler of the town, so that it would be impossible for any resident to prohibit the use of the facilities to other people. And the last Mishnah for today, Mishnah Vav. Hamudar Hanam Chaveru, someone is forbidden by Neder to have benefit from another. The Mudar has nothing to eat, and the Madir wishes to provide for him. The Madir can give his food to another person as a gift. And then the other one is permitted to eat it. Since the food no longer belongs to the Madir, However, if there is an indication that the mother's gift is insincere and merely a trick to allow the mother to eat the food is not permitted to the mother, as we see now. Once happened with someone in the town of Beis Choron, whose father was ushered by a neder that benefit from him. Who Masius Beno, he the son was marrying off his son and wanted his father, being the husband's grandfather, to participate in the Sudas Nisuim, the wedding feast. So he said to his friend, Chatzer Usuda Nisunim Matana, the courtyard where the feast will take place, and the food for the feast are hereby given to you as a gift. But they are before you in the feast. Amalo, he said, his friend said to him, if the courtyard and the feast are truly mine, they are hereby consecrated to Shemaim, that they're donated to the base of English. Amalo, the son said back to him, I did not give you these items of mine so that you could consecrate them to heaven. I gave them to you only so that my father would be able to attend the wedding feast. Amalo, his friend said to him, no, you gave me these items of yours only so that you and your father, and the sin of breaking the neder will hang on my head. Because the son made it clear that he did not want his friend to truly acquire the courtyard and the feast, the gift was not valid and everything still belonged to him. The father was ushered to attend to the wedding feast, and had he done so, the friend would have been responsible, since by accepting the gift, he would be helping him violate the neder. Okay, Sheba David Nechacham Amru, when the matter came before the Chachamim, they said that the friend was correct. Kol matana she'ena she'im hekdisha ena mekudeshes ena matana. Any gift that is not given sincerely, such that the recipient consecrates it, it is not consecrated, is not a valid gift. Thank you for joining us. We'll continue tomorrow with Perek Vav. Have a wonderful day.